Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Christ, today I want to talk about a truth so powerful, it can transform the very course of your life. Imagine starting over, with nothing but your faith, your words, and your vision of abundance. If I were starting over, I wouldn't focus on what I lack. I would focus on what God has already promised me. I would speak words of prosperity, health, and success until they became my reality. For as Florence Scovel Shinn so wisely taught, your word is your wand, and the words you declare in faith will shape the world you live in. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact kind of declarations and mindset that could turn even the smallest beginning into a millionaire's destiny. The power of spoken words creates your financial reality because every word you speak carries energy, vibration, and creative force. Words are not just sounds, they are seeds you plant into the garden of your life. When you understand that your tongue has the power of life and death, you begin to see that your financial reality is not built only through hard work or external circumstances, but through the consistent declarations that come from your own mouth. If you continually speak lack, you are watering the seeds of scarcity. If you continually speak wealth, you are watering the seeds of abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that our words are like commands to the universe, instructing it on what to bring into our lives. What you repeatedly say, with faith and emotion, begins to shape the situations, opportunities, and relationships that show up for you. When you say, "I can't afford that," or "money is hard to come by," you are not merely describing your present condition. You are reinforcing it and inviting more of the same. Those words send out a signal that you are in alignment with poverty, and the universe matches that frequency. In contrast, if you declare, "I always have more than enough money," or "wealth flows to me in expected and unexpected ways," you are sending out a signal that abundance is your natural state, and life begins to reorganize itself to deliver that reality to you. The power of your words is not a matter of empty slogans or wishful thinking. It's a spiritual law rooted in the principle that what you focus on expands, and what you speak about with conviction manifests in form. You have to realize that your words are like the rudder of a ship. No matter how large the ocean of your circumstances may seem, your words steer your financial destiny. If you say you are going nowhere, you will drift aimlessly. If you say you are on the path to wealth, you set a course toward prosperity, even if the winds of challenge blow against you. Spoken words, especially those spoken repeatedly, become your inner beliefs, and those beliefs dictate your actions. Actions lead to habits, habits shape results, and results confirm the words you first spoke. This is why change must begin with what you allow to pass through your lips. To harness the power of spoken words for financial abundance, you must become intentional about the language you use every day. This means replacing negative statements with positive, faith-filled declarations. When you wake up, instead of saying, "I'm tired," or "I'm broke," say, "I am filled with energy and ready to receive the blessings of this day." Instead of saying, "Money never stays with me," say, "Money comes to me easily, and I manage it wisely." These affirmations are not magic in the sense of superstition. They are spiritual tools that reprogram your mind, align your emotions with abundance, and send out a clear signal to the universe. Florence Scovel Shinn often reminded her readers that the spoken word, when backed with faith, has the power to move mountains. In financial terms, your mountains may be debt, lack of opportunity, or fear about the future. But every time you speak words of provision, success, and wealth, you chip away at those mountains. Your words not only shift your mindset, but they also open your eyes to opportunities that were invisible before. When you declare that you are prosperous, you become more alert to ways to increase your income, save more effectively, and invest wisely. It's as if your brain begins scanning for evidence to support the reality you have been declaring. It is also important to speak these words aloud, not just think them. Speaking them creates a vibration in the air, and that vibration affects both your own subconscious mind and the unseen spiritual forces working on your behalf. This is why prayers, affirmations, and verbal commitments carry so much weight. Thoughts are powerful, but words are thoughts clothed in sound and energy, and this gives them a creative potency that thoughts alone do not have. When you speak words of abundance daily, you are building an invisible structure around your life, a framework of belief and expectation that wealth can grow within. This is not about pretending that challenges don't exist, but about choosing to speak the outcome you desire instead of the obstacle you fear. Even if your bank account is low, you can still speak, "I live in God's unlimited supply." Even if bills are piling up, you can still say, "Everything I need comes to me at the right time and in the right way." These statements keep your focus on solutions rather than problems. Over time, your outer circumstances begin to align with the truth you have been declaring. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen because the spiritual law of sowing and reaping applies to words as much as to actions. The power of spoken words also influences the people around you. When you speak abundance, you inspire others to believe it is possible for them as well. This creates a ripple effect of positivity and opportunity. People are drawn to those who speak with confidence and hope, and this can open doors in business, partnerships, and networking that you might not have found otherwise. Your spoken words can become a magnet, pulling in the resources, ideas, and support you need to create lasting wealth. Faith-filled declarations unlock divine provision because faith is the key that opens the storehouses of heaven. It is one thing to speak positive words, but it is another to speak them with an unwavering belief that they are backed by the promises of God. Without faith, words can feel empty, like seeds scattered on rocky soil. With faith, those same words become living seeds, planted in fertile ground, destined to bring forth a harvest. Faith transforms declarations from mere statements into spiritual commands that align with divine law. When you declare abundance with a heart full of belief, you are not begging for provision. You are claiming what has already been made available to you through divine promise. The scriptures remind us that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. This means that when you speak faith-filled words, you are acting as though what you desire is already yours. You do not wait for your bank account to be full before you declare wealth. You declare wealth now, knowing that your faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Florence Scovel Shinn often taught that you must act and speak as if you already have what you desire, because in the spiritual realm, it already exists. Your words, when saturated with faith, call that provision out of the invisible into the visible. Faith-filled declarations also remove the mental and emotional blockages that often keep abundance from flowing. Many people speak positive affirmations, but deep inside they are filled with doubt, fear, or feelings of unworthiness. This creates a contradiction, and the spiritual energy behind their words is weakened. But when faith is present, there is no hesitation, no mental tug of war. There is only certainty that what you are declaring is on its way. Faith acts as a powerful amplifier for your words, turning them into magnets for divine provision. When you say, "God's wealth is circulating in my life, and there is always a lavish abundance," with full conviction, you are tapping into a spiritual current that cannot be stopped. It's important to remember that faith is not just a feeling. It is a decision. You choose to believe the promises of God over the evidence of your circumstances. You choose to trust that the unseen is more real than the seen. This decision gives weight to your declarations. Even when your outer world seems to be lacking, your inner world remains steadfast. You continue to speak as though you already possess the supply, and this persistence of faith draws the provision into manifestation. This is why so many people give up too soon. They speak in faith for a short while, but when they see no immediate results, they return to speaking words of doubt. The key is to keep declaring with faith until what you have been speaking becomes your lived reality. When you speak faith faith-filled declarations, you also activate spiritual laws that work in your favor. The law of expectation states that you will receive what you truly expect, not just what you wish for. The law of sowing and reaping states that you will harvest what you plant, and your declarations are seeds of expectation sown into the soil of your life. Faith waters those seeds, giving them the nourishment needed to grow. The law of attraction states that like attracts like. Faith-filled words spoken with confidence attract circumstances, people, and opportunities that match the vibration of those words. In practice, this means developing a habit of speaking these faith-filled declarations daily, not only in moments of prayer or meditation, but throughout the day. You affirm what you know to be true in the spiritual realm. When fear arises, you counter it with words of faith. When a bill comes in, instead of saying, "I don't know how I'll pay this," you say, "All my needs are met in divine order." When you encounter a setback, you say, "This is only a stepping stone to greater blessings." Over time, these faith-filled responses become your default mode of speaking, and your entire life begins to shift to match the frequency of your declarations. Another powerful aspect of faith-filled declarations is their ability to break cycles of limitation passed down through family, culture, or personal history. Many people unconsciously speak the same words their parents or community spoke, repeating patterns of lack. Faith breaks that cycle by introducing a new language, one that aligns with divine abundance rather than generational scarcity. When you declare, "I am a child of God, and abundance is my birthright," you are rejecting the limitations of the past and affirming your rightful place in the flow of divine provision. Faith-filled declarations also invite the miraculous. There are countless testimonies of people who, through steadfast declarations, received unexpected checks, job offers, debt forgiveness, business opportunities, or other blessings they could not have arranged on their own. This is because faith opens the door for God to work in ways beyond human understanding. Your role is to speak the word and believe. The how is left to divine intelligence. Often, provision comes through channels you never imagined, because faith keeps you open to receiving in unexpected forms. When you commit to speaking faith-filled declarations, you begin to live from the inside out instead of the outside in. You are no longer a victim of circumstances, but a co-creator of your reality, working in harmony with divine law. You are no longer swayed by the ups and downs of the world's economy, because your supply comes from a higher source. You recognize that your words, infused with faith, are the instruments by which you access the unlimited provision of God. Gratitude multiplies what you already have because it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, and this shift in perspective opens the door for more blessings to flow. Gratitude is not just a polite acknowledgement. It is a magnetic force that draws more of what you appreciate into your life. When you give thanks for what you have, you affirm to the universe and to God that you recognize and value the blessings already in your possession. This recognition acts as an invitation for more of the same. Florence Scovel Shinn often taught that whatever you praise, you increase. The simple act of giving thanks sets in motion a spiritual law that causes your good to expand. Gratitude operates on both a spiritual and psychological level. Spiritually, it aligns you with the vibration of abundance. You cannot be grateful and feel lack at the same time. The two states cannot coexist. When you choose gratitude, you are choosing to dwell in a consciousness of abundance, and in that consciousness, more abundance is drawn to you. Psychologically, gratitude trains your mind to notice opportunities and blessings that might otherwise go unnoticed. The more you see the good in your life, the more you find reasons to be grateful, and this positive cycle strengthens over time. In financial matters, gratitude is especially powerful. Many people fall into the habit of complaining about bills, debts, or the rising cost of living. These complaints keep them in a mental state of lack, which attracts more lack. Gratitude breaks this cycle by redirecting your attention to what is already working in your favor. Instead of resenting a bill, You can be grateful for the service it represents. The electricity that lights your home. The internet that connects you to the world. The food that sustains your body. This shift changes your emotional relationship with money. And that emotional change influences how money flows into your life. When you begin to consciously give thanks for your current financial situation, no matter how small it seems, you create a foundation for greater wealth. For example, if you only have a few dollars in your bank account, you can still give thanks for those dollars. For the fact that you have a bank account, for the skills or opportunities that will allow more money to come. Gratitude does not deny the desire for more, but it honors what is already here. This honoring acts as a spiritual magnet, pulling in greater supply, because you have proven yourself a faithful steward of what you have been given. Gratitude also transforms your interactions with others, which can directly impact your financial life. People are drawn to those who express genuine appreciation. Whether in business, friendships, or partnerships, showing gratitude builds trust, strengthens relationships, and encourages others to work with or support you. Opportunities often flow through people, and when you are known as someone who values and acknowledges others, you naturally attract more opportunities. A thankful heart radiates warmth, and that warmth opens doors that effort alone may not. Practicing gratitude is most effective when it becomes a daily habit. You can start by keeping a gratitude journal, writing down at least 5 things you are thankful for each day. These do not have to be grand or dramatic. They can be as simple as a delicious meal, a kind word from a friend, or a moment of peace in a busy day. As you build this habit, you will find yourself naturally noticing more to be grateful for throughout your day. Over time, this constant awareness of your blessings creates a steady flow of positive energy that attracts more reasons to be thankful. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized the importance of gratitude in her teachings, saying that it is one of the quickest ways to manifest your desires. When you speak words of thanks with sincerity, you are acknowledging that your blessings come from a divine source, and that this source is unlimited. By praising what you have, you signal your readiness to receive more. This readiness is essential because many people unconsciously block their own blessings by focusing too much on what they lack, or by taking their current blessings for granted. Gratitude also changes the way you handle challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as setbacks, you begin to view them as opportunities for growth and learning. You may even find yourself giving thanks for the lessons embedded in difficulties, knowing that they are shaping you into someone more capable of handling greater blessings in the future. This mindset keeps you resilient, positive, and open to creative solutions that can lead to financial and personal breakthroughs. On a deeper level, gratitude is an act of faith. When you give thanks for something before it arrives, you are declaring your trust that it will come. This kind of anticipatory gratitude is a powerful manifestation tool. By thanking God in advance for financial increase, new opportunities, or improved health, you are aligning your words and emotions with the reality you wish to experience. This alignment accelerates the process of manifestation because it places you in the same frequency as the outcome you desire. Even small acts of gratitude can create ripple effects that lead to significant changes. Writing a thank you note, speaking words of appreciation to a coworker, or silently giving thanks for a sunny day can all contribute to a greater flow of blessings. Gratitude shifts the entire atmosphere around you, making you a beacon for positive energy and abundance. It keeps you in harmony with divine provision, ensuring that what you have continues to grow and multiply in ways that may surprise you. Clear vision attracts clear results because what you see in your mind determines what you will experience in your life. A vague, scattered, or uncertain mental picture produces scattered and uncertain results, but a sharp, focused vision draws in circumstances and opportunities that match it. Just as a seed knows exactly what kind of plant it will become, your vision contains within it the blueprint of your future. When you hold a clear image of what you desire, you give the mind and the spiritual laws something precise to work with. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized that imagination is the scissors of the mind, cutting out the pattern you wish to bring into reality. If your vision is well defined, it becomes much easier for that pattern to take form. Clarity in vision begins with knowing exactly what you want, not in a general or half-hearted way, but with specific detail. Many people say they want more money, but they have no idea how much, by when, or for what purpose. Others say they want success, but they have not defined what success looks like to them. Without definition, the energy of your intention is weak and scattered. The mind does not know where to aim, and the results reflect that uncertainty. A clear vision, on the other hand, acts like a laser, concentrated, powerful, and capable of cutting through obstacles. When you form a clear vision, you begin to activate the law of attraction in a more deliberate way. Your subconscious mind starts scanning for opportunities that match the picture you have created. You notice possibilities that you might have overlooked before, because your attention is now tuned to them. For example, if your vision is to build a thriving business, you will naturally start noticing articles, conversations, or events related to entrepreneurship. These clues were always present, but without a clear vision, your mind filtered them out as irrelevant. Clarity sharpens your perception and opens your awareness to what can move you toward your goal. A clear vision also strengthens faith because it gives you something tangible to believe in. Vague hopes are easily shaken by challenges, but a vivid mental picture remains steady in the face of obstacles. When you can see your desired outcome in detail, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, you can return to that vision again and again for motivation. It becomes a mental refuge when doubts arise, reminding you of where you are headed and why you are on this path. This constancy of focus helps to maintain the emotional and spiritual energy needed to manifest your desires. To create a clear vision, you must also be willing to eliminate distractions. Many people fail to reach their goals not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they are pulled in too many directions. Every time you change your mind about what you want, you dilute your energy. Your vision must be consistent enough for the universe to respond to it. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn encouraged her students to make a clear statement of their desired good and to stand by it without wavering. The clearer and more consistent your mental image, the faster it can manifest. Visualization is one of the most effective tools for sharpening your vision. Taking a few minutes each day to vividly imagine yourself living your desired outcome helps to impress that image on your subconscious mind. The more real it feels in your imagination, the easier it becomes for your outer world to align with it. When you visualize, include all your senses. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the emotions, even imagine the smells and textures of your desired experience. This multi-sensory approach makes the vision more compelling and believable to your mind. A clear vision also acts as a filter for decision-making. When you know exactly where you are going, it becomes easier to say no to distractions, detours, or opportunities that do not align with your destination. This prevents wasted time and energy, keeping you on the most direct path toward your goal. For example, if your vision is to achieve financial freedom within a certain time frame, you can evaluate every choice, whether it's about spending, investing, or career moves, against that vision. If it moves you closer, you say yes. If it moves you away, you decline. This clarity of decision-making accelerates progress. Your vision must also be written down and spoken aloud. Writing it down crystallizes it in your mind and turns it into a tangible commitment. Speaking it aloud adds the creative power of the spoken word to the process. This combination of thought, word, and belief creates a strong alignment that draws your vision into reality. By repeatedly affirming your vision, you keep it alive in your consciousness, and your energy naturally flows toward it. Clarity in vision has a magnetic quality. It not only attracts the right opportunities, but also the right people. When others hear you speak clearly and confidently about your goals, they are more likely to offer help, resources, or connections. People trust and are inspired by those who know exactly where they are going. Your certainty becomes contagious, and it can draw supporters who are aligned with your purpose. This network of aligned relationships can play a crucial role in bringing your vision to life. Finally, a clear vision allows you to measure progress. Without clarity, you have no real way to know if you are moving forward. But when your vision is specific, you can track milestones and celebrate victories along the way. This builds momentum and reinforces your belief that your desired result is not only possible, but inevitable. Every step in alignment with your vision strengthens the spiritual and practical foundation for its manifestation. And over time, those aligned steps produce the clear results you have been envisioning. Persistence in belief overcomes visible lack because the outer world is often the last place where change appears. And if you give up too soon, you forfeit the blessings that were already on their way. Persistence is the unwavering commitment to hold on to your faith and your vision regardless of what your circumstances currently show. It is easy to believe when everything looks abundant, but true manifestation power is proven when you can maintain belief even in the face of lack, delay, or contradiction. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized that the invisible forces of supply are always working behind the scenes, and persistence is what keeps you aligned with them until they fully manifest in the material world. Visible lack has a way of tempting you into doubt. When bills pile up, when opportunities seem scarce, or when your bank account is low, it is natural to feel pressure to focus on what you see. But the spiritual principle is clear: you do not live by sight alone, but by faith in the unseen abundance that is constantly available to you. Persistence in belief means that you choose to look beyond appearances and trust that your declarations, your prayers, and your vision are creating change, even if it hasn't yet shown up physically. This ability to hold steady in your faith is what separates those who manifest abundance from those who give up halfway through the process. Persistence is not passive waiting, it is active alignment. Each day you persist in belief, you speak words that agree with your desired outcome, you visualize it, and you act in ways that reflect confidence in its arrival. This active persistence builds momentum, both in the spiritual and physical realms. You may not see it immediately, but every persistent declaration is like adding a brick to the invisible structure of your desired reality. Over time, those bricks form a solid foundation, and suddenly, the structure appears in your life, seemingly out of nowhere. Though in truth you were building it all along. One reason persistence is so powerful is that it strengthens your mental and emotional resilience. Every time you face visible lack and choose to believe anyway, you reinforce your ability to remain steady under pressure. This steadiness is essential for long-term wealth and success because there will always be fluctuations in external circumstances. If your belief is easily shaken, you will constantly be starting over. But if your belief is deeply rooted, you can navigate temporary lack without losing your alignment, which allows abundance to return to you more quickly. Persistence in belief also keeps you connected to divine timing. Often, what we ask for requires preparation, either in our skills, in our mindset, or in the arrangement of circumstances. Visible lack can be the space where this preparation happens. If you persist, you give divine order the time it needs to align all the right elements for your blessing to arrive in the best possible way. But if you quit too early, you disrupt that process and may end up settling for less than what was intended for you. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that there is a supply for every demand, but you must hold your demand with unwavering belief until the supply appears. This means resisting the urge to speak words of defeat when the manifestation seems delayed. Every time you say, "It's not working," or "I guess it's not meant for me," you cut the flow of abundance. Persistence means replacing those thoughts with affirmations like, "Everything I need is on its way now," or "I walk in divine supply and timing." Over time, this consistency creates an unbreakable habit of faith. It is also important to recognize that persistence is a form of sowing. Just as a farmer plants seeds and must continue to water them, even when there is no visible sprout, you must continue to nourish your vision and declarations. If the farmer stops watering after a week because he sees no plant, the seed dies. But if he persists, the growth that was happening underground eventually breaks through into the open. Your faith works in the same way. Most of the work is invisible until the moment of breakthrough. Persistence in belief changes your relationship with setbacks. Instead of seeing them as proof that your vision is impossible, you see them as temporary detours or as signs that something better is being aligned for you. This perspective keeps you moving forward instead of giving up. When you hold to your belief despite appearances, you are demonstrating to yourself, to others, and to the universe that you are committed to the outcome. That level of commitment has a magnetic pull. It draws resources, people, and ideas that resonate with your unwavering energy. Another reason persistence overcomes visible lack is because it shifts your identity. Each time you persist, you strengthen the belief that you are someone who is worthy of abundance and capable of receiving it. This inner identity begins to override the outer evidence. Eventually, your self-image becomes so aligned with prosperity that lack can no longer hold its grip on you. This inner transformation ensures that when abundance arrives, it stays, because you have developed the mindset and discipline to maintain it. Finally, persistence creates a powerful spiritual statement. It tells the universe that you will not be moved by temporary conditions. When you refuse to let visible lack dictate your thoughts, words, and actions, you prove that you are operating from a higher truth. The truth that abundance is your natural state, and that what you desire is already yours in the unseen. This steadfastness allows the outer world to catch up with the inner reality you have been holding, until the lack fades and the abundance becomes visible. Aligning with God's promises leads to inevitable abundance, because the Word of God is unchanging, eternal, and filled with declarations of provision, prosperity, and blessing for those who believe. When you align your thoughts, words, and actions with what God has already spoken, you place yourself in agreement with a power far greater than any human effort. This alignment is not about striving or forcing outcomes. It is about coming into harmony with divine law and allowing the promises of God to manifest naturally in your life. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized that when you are in alignment with spiritual truth, abundance flows without resistance, because you are no longer working against the current of divine supply. God's promises are like a spiritual contract, unbreakable, faithful, and backed by the authority of the Creator. When Scripture says that God will supply all your needs according to His riches in glory, that is not a suggestion or a possibility, it is a guarantee for those who stand in faith. However, this guarantee becomes active in your life when you choose to believe it and act in accordance with it. Alignment means that you stop speaking words that contradict the promises, stop entertaining thoughts of lack, and stop acting as though provision is uncertain. Instead, you live from the assurance that God's supply is abundant, constant, and tailor-made for your life. One of the greatest challenges in aligning with God's promises is that the world often presents a different picture. Economic downturns, job loss, or unexpected bills can make it seem as though God's promises are distant or delayed. But alignment means you do not let these temporary appearances override eternal truth. You choose to trust that the promise is more real than the problem. This trust is demonstrated by the way you speak, declaring abundance, provision, and blessing even when circumstances seem to argue otherwise. Aligning with God's promises also requires knowing what those promises are. You cannot stand on what you do not know. This is why immersing yourself in Scripture and spiritual teaching is vital. The more you fill your mind with the truth of God's Word, the easier it becomes to reject the lies of lack and fear. When you know that the Lord is your shepherd and you shall not want, you begin to walk through life with a calm assurance, even in uncertain times. That confidence itself is magnetic, It draws in opportunities, resources, and solutions because you are operating from a place of faith rather than desperation. Living in alignment also means that your actions reflect your belief in God's promises. If you believe that you are divinely guided, you act on ideas and opportunities without fear. If you believe that you are provided for, you make decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. This does not mean being reckless, but it does mean refusing to let fear dictate your steps. You align your spending, investing, giving, and planning with the reality that there is always more supply, where that came from because the source is infinite. Another aspect of alignment is gratitude for promises before they are visibly fulfilled. Thanking God in advance is a powerful act of faith because it shows that you believe His word more than your current situation. This anticipatory gratitude keeps you connected to the flow of abundance, as it shifts your energy from waiting in anxiety to receiving in joy. When you are aligned in this way, you are not simply hoping the promises will come true. You are living as though they already have. Alignment also involves obedience to divine guidance. God's promises often manifest through steps you are led to take, opportunities to seize, people to connect with, or ideas to act upon. If you resist these nudges, you delay the fulfillment of the promise. But when you act promptly and in faith, you create openings for provision to flow. Florence Scovel Shinn would say that your part is to be receptive and ready. God's part is to bring the supply in ways beyond your human reasoning. When you align with God's promises, you also develop a new identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone struggling to make ends meet and begin to see yourself as a child of God with full access to the riches of the kingdom. This identity shift changes how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you interact with opportunities. You expect good to come, and because expectation is a powerful force, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The inevitable abundance that flows from alignment is not always limited to money. It shows up as peace, health, strong relationships, and divine protection. These forms of abundance often support financial prosperity because a peaceful mind and a healthy body allow you to create, serve, and work more effectively. God's promises cover every area of life, and when you are in harmony with them, you experience a richness that goes beyond material wealth, even as material blessings increase. The more consistently you stay in alignment, the faster and more easily abundance manifests. This is because you are no longer sending mixed signals to the spiritual law. You are no longer affirming abundance one day and speaking lack the next. You are steady in your faith, constant in your declarations, and unwavering in your expectation. This consistency creates a clear channel for God's promises to flow without blockage, and over time, you find that what you once strained to receive now comes effortlessly because you are living in the reality of the promise rather than striving toward it.